Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Snuffed. I am joined today by my lovely co-host. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Oh, I'm just fucking stellar, and you know why. How are you?
Why is that? Do I know?
We literally have talked about it. Whatever, it's fine. Jason doesn't care about my little love.
I need you to tell the world now, Nick.
I may or may not have a really good first date yesterday. Anyway, so that's my tea. But how are you doing?
I am doing good.
Good.
My Oilers are into the Western Conference Finals, so I'm thriving.
Aren't they like really good? Is that a thing?
I mean, they came into the playoffs stumbling, not playing great, and now they're doing really good. So let's hope
Oh,
that continues.
we'd love to see it. We'd love to see it.
Yeah,
Well, fingers crossed for the Oilers.
thank
But,
you.
of course, we are also joined today by our very first guest, who is a Prestige Survivor alum. He plays six on the Amazon. I would personally say that he was robbed, but now he is here to dissect the Shadowlands and his time on the Amazon. Hi, Jacob.
Hello, Nick. How are you
How,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm definitely excited to be on the other side of judgment. And,
I
you know,
know. It's so much more fun on this side for sure.
it really is. You get released after the season into the T-Spec chat and you see all of the hatred and all of the things that it's like, of course I didn't know? But now I'm on the side of the hatred and I'm having a great time.
I mean, to
Wait,
be
there's no side of hatred.
well, hold on. There's only
Yes, I mean some, but
there's only hatred towards people that go inactive without an explanation.
Hmm.
Granted, I don't think that there was anybody in the Amazon minus one, and I'm not talking about Colby, that basically was inactive without explanation, and they were on Jacob's tribe. um, their
Oh, poor
name
Colby.
may have rhymed with ninja, but anyway.
oh yeah.
I say hatred with love as well. I'm
With
a
love.
hater. I'm a hater. I love to judge. So it all is said with love.
Yeah, I'm just a rotten bitch, honestly. So quite frankly, I'll just talk my shit. And it's all with love too. It's never meant to be actually serious. Like
Mm.
it's an online survivor game with no prize. So like if anyone from the cast, like we said every episode basically, anything that we're saying is not meant to become across as malicious or like mean spirited. It is an online game with zero prize. It's not that deep, I
Or
promise.
just do what I did and not listen to the podcast that you played in and just listen to the rest.
Precisely. Protect your peace. If you
Because
have
I don't
to,
want to hear that bitch, that those bitches talking about me.
yeah, if you want to protect your peace, protect your peace. But I'm still going to talk my shit. All right. But anyway, we've got a lot to discuss so far about this season. All we've done so far is kind of the cast assessment. So let's jump, frankly, right into it. So we have a cast of 21 people this season. You know, several have been voted out already so far at this point in time. We've had five fall. We're about to have a sixth one fall today. Jacob, what did you make of the cast this season now that you know you're in trusted specs? You're able to see the cast reveal. You may or may not have a friend on this cast. I know for a fact you do, but you may or may not have a friend on this cast this season. What'd you make of the cast?
I think it's a great cast. I think it's again another age diverse cast. You have people from, the US, people from Europe, even Esta, I believe, is in India. So
Mhm.
very diverse geographically as well. Um, I think a lot of people come in with I'm here to cause conflict and chaos. So that's always, a great start to the season is this promise of some kind of drama.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, frankly, yeah, I've been enjoying them very much so far.
All right. So at the first challenge, we saw the unveiling of the Tekore tribe, which is a redemption style twist. What do you make of Tekore as a concept? Would you have liked to see this twist on the Amazon? What's your take on it?
I don't think I actually would have liked this on my season.
Valid. So valid.
I love it for the theming of this season, and
Mhm.
I love watching it. But for my own season, hell no. You do not
Is it
want to see
because you were
anybody
afraid
back.
Ginger was coming back?
I actually might have been. Oh my God, Jinja. Yeah, when you send people home pre-merge, it's always with the notion that I'm screwing over this person and I will never have to pay any consequences, at least from a jury management perspective, of sending this
Mhm.
person home. Um,
Right.
so that's totally a new thing that all of these players have to consider every time they're voting someone out.
Mhm.
Um,
Which follow-up question, like would that have changed how you played the Amazon, knowing because like we announced it at the beginning, so everyone, at least when they're voting somebody out, is aware that they could be coming back. Would that have changed at any of your pre-merge votes on the Amazon?
I think the only one it could have changed even slightly is Ben. Voting out Ben on our swaps tribe felt like a huge slap in the face. And
Yes, did.
I did feel like very responsible for it as well. And I know that he would have come back definitely with, my name on his hit list.
Mhm.
Um, I guess otherwise, it does suck, but at the end of the day, only one person you can assume is coming back. I guess you guys weren't specific about that, were you?
No.
So I would assume only one person would come back. And, what is one person against an army of
Right.
people who you've been working on relationships with since they've been gone?
Yeah.
But you never know. It still is a factor which throws everything up in the game, and it makes things less stable for sure, less predictable.
Mhm.
It's okay. I would have rigged it so hard for Brian to get back, just to see the dynamics between Brian and Henry.
I know. The way that Brian the whole
Just kidding. Would never rig, but
the way that Brian was fully like, I love Henry, I vibe with Henry, and meanwhile the whole like episode one, Henry's like, Brian has got to fucking go. Like, Brian's such a fucking threat. I'm like, oh my god, he acts like Brian walked up and just kicked his dog in the face. Like it was that not actually that deep for Henry, but like Henry had like that much of a like game vendetta. Like he's got to go for Brian, as if like Brian had personally wronged him.
I
It
am
was so
so glad
good.
I was never on the receiving end of that Henry ire, because that was some powerful hatred.
He had some very strong points. Some very strong points were made. Honestly, the realest and the most deep feud last season was clearly Bliss and Christine. Those two were at each other's throats the whole time. Let's be real. But
What about Jacob and Pixie?
oh my god, Jacob and Pixie too. Jesus Christ.
That was a rivalry that I was not expecting at all, for sure.
Robbed.
I
Robbed.
think I think actually both of the older women I did not do well with in the game.
do
Christine
you have
was
something against mothers?
Yeah, literally. Do you have some
no, I
older
am
women?
publicly a lover of mothers. Um, but I don't know, something just did not work out for me in those two. Christine, every chance she had in the merge was trying to say my name to get me out. Pixie had her, very good reason for wanting to get me out because I screwed her over at the swap. Um,
Yes.
but I
But
guess it just wasn't in the cards
Christy
for me and
had
the
found
mothers.
in this idol, and you could have used that to make a move.
Yeah.
Uh, don't even get me started on all the idols that could have changed my game for the better that I never got.
It's okay. The board
Uh,
just wasn't in your favor, apparently.
no, it wasn't. I mean, right out the gate, I got this advantage that I shared with Jose for the super search,
Mhm.
and it amounted to literally nothing. Um, but yeah, it wasn't in the cards, and I'm at peace with it now.
Right. No, I don't blame you, honestly. I would have been pissed too. I would have been mad as hell. But ultimately, this season we started off with a double trouble council, um, which obviously we've only really done a few times in this server. But like with Takori, it made sense obviously to kind of have two be there initially rather than just one. But ultimately, between Shima and Chloe, who were you more sad to see go?
I feel like Chloe was giving me a lot more, at least
Yes.
in the confessionals and with the personality.
Uh huh.
Um, is it Kima or Chima? I want to
I
put.
think
I
it's
think
Shima.
it's
I've been
Shima.
saying Shima, like Shima from Big Brother. That's what I've been
I
saying.
I thought her name was Kima though. Or that's what.
No, her name was Shima.
Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know. Shima, I don't know if it was like he was busy or tired with something in life, but it just felt like he didn't dedicate the time to building relationships at the beginning, and
Yeah,
that very quickly bit him in the ass.
correct. I agree. I
See,
think.
I would have felt like I think when the at the time of the vote, Shima had more potential. I
Mhm,
felt, anyways, like Chloe just was not jiving at all with the cast. But then
mhm.
as the time went on to Kore, like Chloe became more of a personality and like quite frankly the funniest person.
Yeah, her
So it would
personality
have
has
been nice
come
to
out there.
yeah. Nick, you were gonna say something?
Oh no, I mean Chloe. Like socially, literally, she spent the first like 48 hours of the game talking about Drag Race in like the morning chat. So like she got along well with people that I think that for the most part weren't really on her tribe. I think the only one that was Lav. Like Lav was on Oh How To as well. But I was like, what are you doing? Like you're sitting here talking about Drag Race all day long. And like Chloe, I played it before and think that she's so entertaining. But I fully knew that she was probably going to be an earlier boot because of the fact that one, she's younger, and two, she doesn't really bring a whole lot to like tribal challenges. Like she's not a physical player. She's definitely more of a social player for sure. But she's so fucking entertaining. It's hard to not like her anyway. Like she was almost not on this cast this season either. Like she was an alternate that we like before we even sent out the letters, like she was gonna be an alt. And then someone that was like in the running before we even made decisions had dropped. So I'm glad that Chloe was still on because I think that Chloe still was a fun character. But would I have liked to see more of her? Sure. Do you think that either one of them played well despite them being a first boot?
No.
No.
Sorry.
Not particularly, no.
That's there's nothing more to say than that. They both did not play well, and I'll say it and own it. Jason, take us to episode 2.
Well, now that we know Shima and Chloe, they enter Takore. We kind of find a bit more about what that twist is about for the Trusted Specs and production now. So to stay in the game, we give them the task. And actually, I've seen this a million times. So for the love of me, cannot remember the exact freaking phrase. But they have to
You're the one that
repeat the
came up with the
phrase.
phrase.
No.
You
The
made
void
the
test me,
phrase.
but I will not fade. So they have to post this X amount of times over the episode, and they get a 10-minute cooldown. And like our objective for giving them this task was like we wanted them to be engaged throughout. Uh, Jacob, what are your thoughts on the task that we've given them?
So I mean, it's kind of like it reminds me of the Power Hour challenge that I did on my season, except with a lot more time to do it. And I guess you're not penalized for not being within the set increments. Is that correct?
No,
Okay. So I
they
mean,
just have to get it done.
yeah, it just seems like, if you're there and you set a little reminder on your phone, you're willing to put in the work, you're good to go.
Right.
I don't think it's asking too much if that's what you're, a part of the question as well.
Some folks may be
Cool.
acting like it is, though. Not actually, but
I mean, we've got some
Well,
pretty good engagement from the players that have left, except for the two that were out first.
right. Well, I think it was funny within the first 10 minutes of the challenge being explained to them. They're like, all right, Chloe, GG, you got this. And then, no, Chima, you got this. They're like already throwing in the towel.
Okay.
I'm like,
As the person in charge of
guys.
as the person in charge of explaining this to them, like that was the dumbest conversation I've ever been a part of in my life. They're like,
But
oh, this
that's
is a challenge. Good luck. I'm like, no, it's not who does this the fastest. It's just do it. Oh, okay. How long? I'm like, I literally just said 10 minutes. Oh, but like I have to do it 24 times just now. Like, no, 24 times until the end. Like, what? How many?
it's giving first and second boot a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, like, no hesitation. They did not play. They were not paying attention.
I think it's great. Some of the funniest chats have come out of Takore, just them being completely clueless.
So funny.
Oh, wait,
Um,
fuck that.
we've also seen some new challenges to Prestige, not to the technic or like the whole Suitman's lore. But we had a new challenge on episode 2, Trivia Timidness. You didn't get that in the Amazon. Um, how do you like? What did you think about the challenge?
So trivia Tibidus. Give me a little what was that challenge again?
So that one we had
Trivia.
3 players per tribe competing in trivia, and they got the fastest person to get the right answer got more points. And then they had to buzz out, and you wanted to be the lowest person to like lock in your score for the tribe. And if nobody buzzed out, the person at the bottom would be kicked out and get 0 points. So you really are like communicating amongst your tribe and trying to bank as many points as you can to take your tribe to victory. You might not have experienced it. Did you watch it?
Well, so on my season, we had like one-on-one trivia challenges. I went against Henry, who kicked my ass absolutely. But I mean, I'm always a fan of trivia. Anything trivia related, I'm good with. So yeah, I didn't watch it live, but I think it was a great challenge as well.
We definitely had like a runaway.
Right.
It was not even a chance. Howay just like got absolutely destroyed. And I think that was mostly because of Jason scoring 0 points.
Poor Jason. It seems like he's been having a rough run with some of these challenges, huh?
He's God's strongest soldier of fighting for his life.
But
I mean, speaking of Jason, like he's not been doing good in challenges. He hasn't been like the highest in the tribe, like the original Hawei, but still in it, still fighting.
I think Jason's stocks are on the up, personally. And I'm not just saying because he's on my draft.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Who you would have known. Is Jason the one that you knew coming into the season?
No, I knew Tristan or Trix coming into the season. Yep. I put Jason as my super winner draft pick, though.
Yeah, I saw that. We've seen a number of alliances built this season, especially in the second episode. Do you have a favorite alliance at this point?
I was a big fan of the core 3. So that consists of Anna, Tristan, and Kyler.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I too.
Only problem is I'm not sure how strong that alliance is in the current episode.
Right. It makes it obviously because Tristan, I mean, all 3 of them are actually, no, Tristan and Kyler will be in the same tribe. Anna, however, is not on that tribe. So obviously the alliance is, for the time being, inactive. So
I know we're jumping ahead, but like we literally have the most alliances of Prestige era because there was like none in Amazon for the longest time.
Oh my God, right?
And how many do we have? Sorry, we have 17 alliances created since the beginning of the game, and only 1 is active because of all the tribe swaps. Literally every other alliance is locked.
I stand by it.
And there's not even a single alliance on the current tribe going to tribal council.
Purple was going hard with those alliances at first. I mean, they kind of had to because they were going to tribal back to back.
Yeah.
But there was like a core 3 and then a 4 outside of that, and then a 4 with another person, and then 5. It was a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I do got to say my favorite name, maybe not my favorite alliance, but, and this is again kind of going a little further in the season, but how the cookie crumbles. So good. Dell,
good wordplay.
You're naming every alliance forever. If I have anybody that needs to help me, it's you.
I always think the quality of an alliance as well directly correlates to how much effort was put into the name. So hopefully that one's there to stay because that's a good, clever alliance name.
It's a damn good alliance, honestly.
It is. I just don't know if they trust each other. That was just like such a convenient in the moment. She almost like wasted the alliance on just the convenience thing, I think.
Sometimes convenience is all you need.
She's got to bring it back.
True.
Moving on from episode 2 to put a bow on that, we saw Hallway get destroyed in that challenge, and Issa was the boot in that round. What were your thoughts on the Issa boot? And Jason surviving another round.
To me.
Yeah.
It was fun. You know, Issa was out here being over the top, causing chaos. We already had a tribal council fight, which I don't think that happened in the Amazon until like the end of the swapped tribes and then into the merge, you know. It was very, very great spectating fun for sure. Issa versus Jason.
Issa going over Jason, like Issa did honestly bring a lot. I just think that socially was not in a good spot at all. Like people were just kind of like, they're they're there, like it's fine. But
Right.
because it's like definitely, I feel like they've been kind of the most transparent about like who they're going after if they get back in. So I'm kind of curious to see if they earn their way back into the game. I think that would be enticing to see how that plays out ultimately. But I'm also kind of intrigued to see John, who was stumbling his way through, like not even stumbling, like he was so active. However, he has played before in Suitman's in Generation 3 towards the very end of it, where he kind of faced a very similar issue where he was playing so hard so soon that people were like, nah, he's got to go. So I think that John kind of didn't learn his lesson in a lot of ways, which is unfortunate. But ultimately, I was definitely happy to see that Jason stayed because I think that Jason, at this point in time, still, even though we're talking about episode 2, is still giving probably the best confessionals to date, without a doubt. So between the graphics and the content, it's all been lovely. So no
And
notes
that's
from
almost what put him. That's almost what I felt like set him back was like he was spending too much time on the graphics and not enough time socializing. But now that the
right.
graphics are done, he's like down to socialize. So it's nice to see that stock rising.
I'm like,
But I
well,
think
it's on.
even in this episode, like because of his connection to Topher, I think is almost like Issa kind of buried themselves by being a little chaotic. Topher was
Mhm.
though like having Jason's back. So like at least he found somebody to kind of speak for him and when he wasn't in a room, which is good.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I
Issa
think
was a bit too like because I think in the or well, who was it? He was like lying straight to Topher saying, "I don't know who voted for Jason," and he's like, "You did. You voted for Jason. We know you did."
It was definitely there. Like he's like, I don't know. Word on the street is, but
Might not have been me. No, it was you. It was like the funniest interaction.
so. He threw that stray vote the previous tribal council, right?
Yeah,
yep.
and then
Okay,
denied it.
he was reheating some of the big lie nachos. I see.
Yeah,
The big line nachos. Well, yes, he was. Okay. So episode 3, moving on there. We now are at the first swap of the season. And we saw the 3 tribes of 7-ish. 3 tribes go to 2 tribes of 9. So Jacob, obviously on the Amazon, we started out with 2 tribes of 11. So it was already like a stark difference from how we did this season. So with this, do you enjoy, like, from obviously playing the Amazon, did you enjoy having smaller tribes or did you like having bigger tribes?
I would say in the bigger tribe, it's obviously a lot easier to kind of fade into the background.
Yeah.
Um, Iguano, for example, like V was putting themselves out there pretty early on, so it was really easy to hide behind them as like, oh, they're the ones, stirring shit up, pissing people off. I think just in a bigger tribe, it's easier to, right, just get on by without having to do much.
Right.
Smaller tribes, there's nowhere to hide.
Mhm.
Everyone's shit is out in the open, and it's like, it's a lot more difficult to navigate, I think.
No, for sure. I think it makes it a lot worse. But we saw some interesting dynamics in mixing this swap too. How do you think these swap tribes shaped up? Obviously, there was a clear, stronger tribe given challenge performance, but what do you make of how How and Tapo kind of shaped up?
I mean, I think there's some interesting dynamics in there. Taupo, for example, I'm pretty sure Kyle, right, was the lone member of their original tribe. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, I read their confessionals and I'm pretty sure they were pretty distraught about that. But I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you're like in the perfect power position. Like, obviously, people are going to come to you looking to, swing the vote against the other majority. Because I think it was like 4-4-1 along the original tribe lines.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
So like people are already, I know Topher was saying like, oh, Kyle's going to be real popular, potentially useful. But then Kyle's over here like lamenting the situation. So I was a little surprised in that, you know.
Mhm. No, for sure.
Um, yeah.
It was definitely an interesting swap for sure. My whole thing is like, and I was talking to Jason about this literally last night. Like, I want somebody from Taupo to go home, not because I don't like
Mm.
anybody from the original tribe, but I just want to see how the dynamics would shape up at any point, whether it be the original tribes, the first swap, or the second swap. I want to see what that tribe is going to do to each other. We have not seen anything yet, and as a result of that, we have people like Jamie, who is a Suitman's alum and knows how much we value content, but is giving next to none. So,
Um,
Well, it
um,
was interesting because on the Ohau tribe, like the OG Taupo were on the minority. Like they could have easily been picked off.
yeah, yeah.
And then the OG Ohau just like self-destructed.
No, literally
oh, they've been going through it.
unprovoked. They just keep cannibalizing each other, and I'm like, are y'all well?
I guess they don't like each other that much.
Like, is the beef that deep for everyone? Like, do we need to like
And as
have like a therapy intervention, or like, what's going on?
and as much as I wanted like the because we kind of got this Ohau turning on John and then John doing his Hail Mary and his like last ditch effort to get the OG Ohau and Hawaii together. Like as much as I kind of wanted that to work to get out of somebody else, like they played it pretty smart in taking John out and still having like the majority.
Right.
I guess it was more even. It was more risky, but it was a safer bet than John going back. Like they kind of had more secure lines in the sand a little bit.
Mhm.
But it was a very interesting hour of tribal council as
Oh yeah.
how the Cookie Crumble alliance is on VC and try to like decipher what they should do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right. Like,
It was
I
very
think,
tricky for sure.
As I say, like I felt Jason handled that pretty well too. I was actually listening to that voice chat and just being like, Jason handled it not how I would have. Like he didn't kind of like use the baby gloves with the alliance. He's like, well, now you guys are talking to me. Like he was like very in your face, like, well, how can I possibly trust you? And I'm like, damn,
yeah.
like good for him, but also not how I would have handled it.
You
No, not
guys,
at all.
you guys think John could have played that better to survive? Like, were the people that John pulled aside for that alliance the correct people to pull aside?
I think they were.
Yeah,
Like, I
I
think
think so
that
too.
was his best chance. I just think it was too late.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it was like very. So I think Lab told John very last minute, like if you have an idol, play it,
That's
and
hilarious.
which iconic. Um, but I'm like, I think that John ran into the same problem he did previously in his appearances in the server, in that he played too hard too soon, found himself. I mean, granted, the first time he played, he quite literally said, and I quote, like 5 minutes after a challenge results were posted, like, and this was during when we had 48-hour travel rounds, and was like, we need to figure out a name right now. Like, what's the name? Give me a name. And
And
it
you gave
was
her
like,
time on that, right? Like
yeah,
15
it was
minutes.
like a 40, yeah, it was like 15 minutes, and then it was like 5 minutes. I'm like, what are you doing? So like there, it wasn't to that extreme of where he was shooting himself in the foot socially and playing too aggressively, but I still think that like there was just really not a strong.
I think John's problem here, like not only was time not on his hand, like in
Yeah,
his favor, but he also was not nimble enough on who the target was going to be. Like he was like, Lav betrayed me, which Lav did not betray him. Lav gave him the fighting chance.
I know.
Uh, and they literally were like, we don't want to vote out Lav based on what's going on in his personal life, and we just don't want to do that. But was
Yeah,
not flexible enough to be like, hey, what about this? Like he wanted his to survive, but also needed it exactly to be who he wanted, and the others were clearly saying no, and he was not willing to bend. Like he did a lot of the right things. I think that was his biggest mistake. Because I remember on that call, they were all like, they all noted that, okay, he was not willing to vote out this person. So they must be closer than we think. So it actually is better if they're all going to vote out John, just take this win.
yeah,
I wonder if he would have had more luck with Gersh and Mads, because I'm pretty sure they had John up higher on their trust rankings than the other yellow tribe members. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if there was much he could have done. I think people kind of maybe found there to be like a certain intensity about him. Because I personally don't think he even played too hard to end up in that situation. I just think maybe he was too blunt and it didn't mesh well with everyone.
Right. That
But
part too.
it was a shame for sure. I wanted to see John go far. You know, he's been active in the community, so I've known him and seen him. So unfortunate.
So hate to see it, hate to see it. So we just covered actually another question, basically based on that, talking about John. But this round also, I think, is when we saw Dell get a Belair advantage, which later turned out to be an idol, which she now has on Taupo. But she could have had both idols now at this point.
Crazy.
If you happen to have better luck with the board on the Amazon, Jacob, and you got a Beware advantage, would you have taken it or would you have just been like, nah, I'm good?
So I actually did get a Beware advantage.
Oh, see me when I don't remember.
So,
And
so
didn't
the,
take it,
I did not
right?
take it. The
Oh,
first
Yeah.
bitch.
round,
Okay.
the first round of the swap, it was 4-4. I had me, Jamie, Jose, and V,
Right.
and Damien, Vine, Pixie, and Ben. And you know, we were scrambling to try to figure something out. Um, and I did not see any way that I could give up my vote that round. It just felt like too much of a risk and potentially a detriment to the alliances that I've already built up. So I took
Mm-hmm.
the cowardly route and I put it back. And of course, knowing how that vote ended up going, I would have taken it, but I did not know how things would actually unfold. So I think I
That's
played
the
it safe
thing.
and it worked out, but you know,
That's the thing on this
Mm-hmm.
vote. Like, I feel like Dell gave it back pretty early, and at the end of the day, decided to make an easy vote where she could have easily taken the risk and lost her vote. Like, had
Yeah.
she taken it, lost her vote, and then they were having this conversation with John, it's like super simple. We're voting John out because
mhm.
I have no vote and it's not going to go the way you want. But she had her vote. She didn't take it. Like, I don't know if I was actually in her shoes in my last season with Suitman's, is that like I had the advantage or the wear advantage. I saw where the votes were going and I was able to work around that. And then I took the advantage or took the risk and lost my vote. Like, I don't know, 30 minutes before the vote, just because I knew I didn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
got
then I
too
lost. And
nervous.
I what
Yeah.
I thought, sorry, what's that?
Just for the same situation I was in, like I really wasn't sure how the vote was going to shake out toward the end. Um, Jamie kind of was a little rogue a lot of that day. And then she
Yeah.
comes back, storms ablazing, sending voice memos, you know, telling people like kind of intensely how we should vote. I wasn't sure if Pixie and Ben were going to get on board. So I was just like, it's really not worth it at this point. Um, and yeah, you know, you lose some, you regret some things, but I think ultimately I played it safe for sure.
I think this Dell rejecting the Beware advantage though gave us instant flashbacks to the Amazon on like it's hard enough to find advantages, especially when you're not doing pinpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just like say no and you're like, oh my God, they're never gonna find it again. Like, oh fuck. But we find out later we're gonna be okay.
Right.
Woman who's going to be okay. It's very that. Okay. Jason, on to episode 4.
As we're going into this game, we start to see how strong Taupo, no matter what incarnation we have of this tribe, they are now the dominant tribe. Do you see this this trend continuing into the game, or do you think it's getting stale as a viewer, Jacob?
um, you know, I feel like eventually, since there's been so many swaps, you know, there's the opportunity for so many new dynamics each round. Um, I really don't think they're going to stick Taupo strong to the end and just, you know, get rid of every other tribe member. I know Vince and Shep are kind of on the outside of Taupo. Is that correct? Like I
Um,
think I think Vince and Shep are they feel like they're good with the original Blue Tribe members. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think Dell and Brooke and them reciprocate those feelings.
Yeah, I think they're kind of more keen to have them lower on the rankings to where Shep and Vince may have them a bit higher. So I don't think it's remotely the same level of like, yeah, I trust this person at all.
Yeah. So I don't see them actually sticking together like at every possible opportunity they have. I'm sure they'll
Hmm.
be self-devouring soon.
Let's pray.
Yes. Who do you think at this point in the game is the front runner to win it?
So I think Dell is obviously in a great position. I know a lot of the specs have aspirations for her to have her Kelly Wentworth moments. You know, now she has actually has an idol, which is very exciting, very powerful. Um, I think Kyler has been in a great position recently. However, I guess this is getting a little ahead. The recent swap kind of puts them in a situation where they're not at the top of the trust rankings for the first time in the game. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see how Kyler kind of navigates that, you know?
And I think too, like,
Well, we kind of do have the first few. The only person I'm missing on that tribe is Kyle, and Kyler's actually number two.
yeah,
So with a whole new tribe of people, he's already got like Gersh has him as number two, Vince has him as number one, and Fifi has him at number three. I know out of four people, but like that does go quite a ways.
yeah. Kyler was simply determined to not have to be on the same tribe as Jason again for some reason, which I was like, okay, girl, let's pick someone we've never met before and go from there. I don't know. I think that maybe he could have picked Jason just as like a familiar face, honestly, but also Jason was good with Fifi. So there, I mean,
Right, right.
it was kind of a complex choice. And you obviously had to make it on the fly because I was like, we're getting through the swap quickly and easily. Let's move our asses. So I can't fault Kyler too much for that, but ultimately, I don't think he's in a bad spot still. So he'll be fine. But, we'll see. Time will tell.
And if like Kyler does get through this next vote, Tristan's joining, and Tristan has always had Kyler pretty high, although Kyler doesn't necessarily trust Tristan at this point. So
Right, which I don't think Tristan's actually too aware of at all.
I don't think so.
I think Tristan has possibly not juggled his relationships he built really strong early on. He hasn't managed them as well, I think, the last episode or so. I don't know if it's a matter of being busy IRL or what, but it seems like Anna is kind of not investing as much in Tristan. Kyler isn't investing as much. So I'm worried
almost
about
feel
my
like
boy Tristan.
the time away from the tribe of Jason being away from that group of Kyler, Topher, Anna, and Tristan. Actually, I think, and Tristan just kind of going MIA there, like kind of switched it in all of their heads. Like Anna was excited and Topher was excited to save Jason. Like that was the one move they would have, or person they would have liked to have swapped onto their tribe. So like Tristan's MIA-ness has really helped Jason here. And now like Topher, Anna, and Jason are on the same tribe. Like it's Jason or Tristan is now like just replaced. And this is where you were saying the stock is rising.
For sure. Yeah. Jason doing great. Tristan, stay with me, my boy.
Opposite direction. Yeah.
Stay with me.
Nick, what are your thoughts? Who's your front runner at this point?
I would say Del or Anna or Fifi. Frankly, the women. I think all three are in relatively good spots in the game, and I'm also rooting for selfishly a girl winner this year. I mean, obviously, I'll be fine with whoever wins as long as they deserve it. But I'm enjoying those three especially. I think they're playing well. I think Jason has kind of had a come up recently where he's doing a lot better socially. But also a dark horse I'm going to name is Frasier. Obviously, we haven't seen Taupo go to tribal yet, but I think that Del Frasier combo that's continuously brewing is going to be lethal the further it gets in the game. So I could also see Frasier low-key being someone that makes it far too, but time will tell.
Is Frasier currently like in a duo type situation with Del? I mean, it seems like a lot of people are in a duo type situation with Del. So,
I mean, I've been in one myself. Del is a good player,
right.
But yeah, I think a lot of people like. I think Brooke also looks to Dell as like probably a number one. I haven't checked the trust rankings honestly. I don't think Brooke has updated their trust rankings today anyway, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dell was still like top priority for several players in the game. So
Right.
Yeah, we haven't seen Brooke respond yet, but Shep and Fraser have Dell at number one. So
yeah,
Dell's in a pretty good spot on this tribe. But I do feel like Dell they could get clocked as
oh,
well. As like
I think
a
Dell's
scary
already been
person.
blocked.
Yeah,
That's
Like,
why it's good she has that idol.
yeah, like
exactly.
Fifi's already been like, I don't know about Dell. I don't know. She's a
But even
threat.
Fifi, I love Fifi, but not high on a lot of people's trust rankings. So I feel like people are just already aware of Fifi and just
But I think
keeping her
sometimes
at
it's
arm's length.
What do
almost
you mean, like, aware of her?
Like she's right now without Kyle, she is fourth out of the five on that tribe
Mm.
in terms of trust rankings. It's very close between 1 and 4, so anything could like shift that. But
Mm.
right now, behind Gersh, Kyler, and Vince,
Mm.
like she's not number 3 on Kyler and Vince's list, so they trust the others more.
which I mean, I don't think that being in the middle of trust rankings on a tribe this small, especially if Ohio keeps losing, yeah, that's a problem. But
The only problem I see here for Fifi though is with Tristan joining.
yes, that's true. Kyler,
Like, does Kyler now work with Vince and Tristan and take out Fifi because that's who he has at the bottom of his list? Like, Fifi could be in trouble,
yeah, and I think that could easily be the case for sure.
and we can't have that. Kyler, I'll come for you.
Vince is another one I have really enjoyed so far this season.
I love. I'm. I recruited definitely several folks this season, and Vince was one that I played with before, and I was like, apply it, apply. Like I think I asked Vince to do the Amazon too, but he couldn't with timing. But Vince has delivered so much. I'm also happy to see that he did not get immediately swap screwed either. I think he's been so entertaining, albeit terrible at Gil Hap, like embarrassingly bad.
Oh my God, that was the worst I've ever seen.
Which we'll get to in a second. Talking
I don't
about
know.
Gil
There's
Hap.
some bad ones on the Amazon.
That's true, but I mean, yeah. Plus, we also had someone kind of indirectly quit a little bit. Not even indirectly, just send me home. So, thoughts on Mads going home?
I don't know. It kind of reminded me a little bit of what's his name from Micronesia? Chet. Do you guys remember Chet?
Oh my God, yes.
Like it felt like he could have been a very important vote for the Ohio tribe.
Mhm.
And instead of, getting out a bigger threat like Dell or Brooke, instead he was just like, send me home, guys. And I get it, life can kick our asses sometimes. I don't actually know what his situation is, but
Well,
it sucks.
I feel like Jacob, the other Jacob on Trusted Specs, kind of clocked that T because apparently Mads is in another org in its final 8, and it almost feels like he's made like that the priority.
Mhm.
And he's like, you know what? I'll go to Takore, do whatever. Because like now Mads is on Takore and crushing the challenge and the test that we filled. And I'm so like, they're obviously like, you know what? Let's just keep this as a possibility, but I'm going to focus on this other thing. And like, I hate that. I was like, because it came out of nowhere. They kind of used IRL feeling sick as a reason for them not being active, when in reality, it's actually just another org that is impacting it. And it's like, damn it, we're missing out.
I'm sure
because Mads definitely saved Lab there.
Mm-hmm. And like John fighting for his life, the episode prior, like, John could have been kept if he decided that his other org was a priority.
Episode, 48 hours earlier, Mads would have been gone. Yeah,
John was fighting for his life, so it's a shame to see somebody like that with so much intention and time to put into the game now in Takore. I don't know. Maybe he would have gone home either way, but it makes you think what could have been.
But like, so okay, in that episode 4, we had Mads essentially quit, gets voted out unanimously, and then on Takore we had Chloe and Shima fail their tasks,
Mhm.
and get eliminated officially from the game in 21st and 20th place,
Rip.
despite having 2 days to get the easy task done.
Correct.
Failed. Thoughts on that, and kind of like continuing on with the Takore battle. What are your thoughts at this point in the game?
It's just so unserious. Chloe gets sent to the eliminated channel and she just descended memes and shit. I don't know if her heart was really in it to survive.
Mhm.
But so it goes. The strong people are gonna stick around and fight for it, and the people who aren't here to play are gonna succumb to the void, right?
Oh, I like that. You played
Tea.
right into our theme. We didn't even pay you to say that.
Unprovoked. I live. But yeah, no, it was definitely like we gave you like there. I think we had like what, maybe two live challenges pre-merge. Yeah. So the fact that like you literally had 48 hours to do this task. R- really? You couldn't have just copied and pasted?
John literally got into the Takore and had it done like before he went to bed.
John was door dashing, having a joint, making dinner, taking a shower, running a mile on the track, and all the
So
while.
I'm pretty sure this was the biggest one. We've done it bigger every single time, and this was 48 times in 48 hours. You just have a 10-minute cooldown. Like it was very attainable.
You've got to appreciate the man's commitment.
He is determined. Like I think he was an alternate for the Amazon actually too. So like he almost was on your cast. So
I think John is actually better at Takore at the game when he's not in the game than when he is in the game. It's kind of weird.
He might have fit in more on my cast than this one. I'm not sure. I feel like maybe John's problem is like he's too dedicated, and maybe people kind of sense that, that he's doing the most.
Right.
But hey,
Good girl, dude. Good.
I'd rather see that than somebody who is, throwing in the towel after, a pretty simple challenge.
Yeah, that's the part. I'm just like, it wasn't even hard. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Yeah. Like I am loving that. Like now we have John, Issa, and Mads. They're putting it all into this task right now.
Also, the Takore tribe chat's kind of interesting too.
Yeah.
They're starting to clock some, or like they're not starting to clock. They're just starting to think outside the box and like kind of finally playing and being like, oh wait, but they didn't say technically one person was going back, or like they're starting to actually play the game instead of just hanging out in their voting booth by themselves. So
sending Stan Twitter shit.
Yeah.
Which we love.
I mean, I do personally. I think it's fucking hilarious, but
the brain rot,
the brain rot is good.
Somebody's got to bring it, and Chloe is providing.
Someone has to do it. Okay. Jacob, were you shocked to see a second twist God damn it, a second swap this season?
I don't know. I guess I was shocked to see it happen. It was just after 2 more votes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked to see it happen so soon. Again, I feel like right when the dynamics are starting to really become more clear cut, bam, everything is thrown up in the air. So yeah, I was definitely surprised.
Yeah. How do you think? I wasn't either. How do you think the dynamics are shaping up? So we have completely OG Taupo on Taupo now. We have 3 Ohao, 1 Hawea, 1 Taupo on Ohao now. And then we have 3 Hawea, and I think 1 Ohao Taupo on New Hawea. So we've got a blend of people going places. But what do you make of this makeup? Because obviously it was not a random pick this time. It was a school year.
Shady. Very shady.
It was indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it clearly exposed who wants to be with who. I don't know. I didn't pay too close attention to if people strategically chose maybe someone they know wouldn't fit into the tribe. Were there any cases of that you guys noticed? Somebody saying like, this person could be an easy vote, so I'm going to choose them to be on the tribe with me. Did we see anything like that?
I don't know if there was
I don't.
anyone that like directly said it. Um, I think,
Yeah, it was so fast. I don't think so.
yeah, no, like I think it was just very much so like, and then there were even some too that ended up being random picks too towards the end because people were
Right,
buying.
right.
So there wasn't really anyone that like explicitly said that, but obviously, like if I was the one doing it, I personally wouldn't do that kind of shit either because I'd be like, I don't, if I am trying and not vibing with a person, I don't want them 10 feet within me on a tribe era of the game. Come merge,
Mhm.
I'll handle it then. But I don't want, or hell, they can be picked off during the tribe part still. I don't know. But I don't want them anywhere near me. So I'm not trying to fucking drag their ass with me. Get the fuck away from me. Go over there.
Yeah.
I don't want you
Right.
here. But so people, if someone did do that, I'm like, yo, you better pray and hope that you have the numbers for this on a tribe this small to bring on someone that you do not vibe with, knowing it's a tribe of 5 people. Like that's crazy work. So if someone
Mhm.
did do that, it's wild. And I mean,
For
if it
sure.
works, ballsy. But if it doesn't work, you're just a dumb bitch. And I,
Well, if everyone's choosing someone that they love on their tribe, then somebody's still got to be voted out. So, there's still
yeah, it's
always going
like,
to be someone on the bottom. And poor Tristan didn't even get chosen at all. That should be a wake up call for him that these people that maybe he was number one on their TRs at one point
uh,
doesn't look like he is number one anymore.
right.
Um, so I don't know. It's interesting, and I love how this game just keeps shaking up and changing things dramatically as we go. I feel like
What
my
do you?
cast was very stagnant at times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say.
it was very first season coded for sure.
Very predictable, like relationships staying strong for a long time because you spent so much time with those people. Like,
Mhm.
of course, I trust this person who I like Jose. I went to every damn tribal council with Jose the whole season.
Yeah.
Like, it was,
So
it became very
putting
predictable
yourself
for us.
putting yourselves into these like swaps, would you have rather have been like on the Taupo with five of your OG members, or would you rather be Kyler where you're by yourself on a tribe? Like, where do you think you would have succeeded the best?
The ambitious part of myself would like to say Kyler's position, um, just because it gives you the opportunity to make connections outside of your original tribe. You want to have those options always going forward. I feel like that's a part of the Amazon that was tough for me is I felt like, my swapped tribe, I only met so many extra people. I had to screw over a couple of them.
Mhm.
And, it was hard then going into the merge, connecting with some of the other people that I hadn't met at that point in the merge. So, um, yeah, I think I like Kyler's position the most. It could also screw him over. So I really hope it doesn't for him.
Yeah.
Nick, where would you excel?
Um, anywhere? No. I'm totally joking. We
That's
all
how
know I would
I
not.
feel.
I feel like I would excel probably more so in a position like Anna's, where I have 2 people from my original tribe that I vibe well with, and then maybe people that I don't know as well, but maybe, aren't as social anyway. Like, because Spencer and Lav, quite honestly, I wouldn't really peg them as social as a lot of people in the cast overall. So I think being somewhere like where Anna is currently, where she like has connections on her current tribe as well as connections on the other tribes, I think that is kind of where a sweet spot would be for me to just kind of not fade in the background, but not be like on the top of the totem pole, if you will. So I think
Yeah.
somewhere there would be good. What about you though, Jason?
I feel like I am better when I'm in a Kyler's position. Like, I found
Hmm.
myself in both my Suitman seasons being swap screwed, so to speak, and made it to the end. And I just feel like that almost is like the biggest challenge. And if I can't make it through that, then so be it. But if I can make it through it, I can kind of prove that I know how to play the game. And then
Um,
come merge, you have these dynamics that the other tribe doesn't have. Because in like Winners at War, I was there with uh why am I forgetting their name right now? But they ended up leaving. They ended up being inactive anyways. So May,
oh yeah,
um, and I was by
Yeah.
myself essentially, and just was able to build those dynamics. I don't know. I feel like it's a more challenging position, but it's a more rewarding position
yeah.
than kind of being in there with your pre-made alliance, well, not pre-made, but like the alliance you created at the beginning stages of the game.
It is nice that people don't have context. They don't know who you're aligned with. They don't know anything about your game up to that point, in theory.
Oh, and
So
it's a
you
good
do have the
point because
chance to like rewrite history almost.
oh yeah,
create
like
a
when
narrative.
and I was on like a pretty good, strong alliance before our swap in Winners at War. And then I got to, like you said, write the narrative. I told them, I'm like, oh, I don't, like, I'm in a shitty position. I'm not as close. Those guys are much closer together. So they get put me in a spot where they're like, oh, okay, I can use you because you won't have anybody. And I was like lying right to their face, but like they don't know that.
Right? You were really using them.
My God.
This game.
Let's see if I can mess. Okay. What, Jacob? You played Gilhap on your original season. What were your thoughts on on Gilhap making its grand return? Do you like this challenge? Do you hate it? What are your thoughts?
I would say love hate. It definitely it hurts my brain like fucking crazy. Like just staring at those tiles over and over and over again. And like because you're going for accuracy and then also speed. Is that how it was, or are you timed on each individual Gilhap puzzle?
You're also timed to like you have a certain amount of time each round to like get as much in as you can. Correct, obviously. So like you have like I think it's 2 minutes per like round you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's both. It's accuracy and timed.
Okay. Yeah, I would say overall I like it. I've never heard of Gilhap before Prestige. But very cool concept of a challenge. It just hurts my brain. So very love hate for sure.
That's fair. Okay. Now we know. I mean, the challenge was quite literally a blowout. Like Ohio did not come close to winning. Like they bombed it badly.
They didn't know what challenge happened.
Yeah, they forgot what they were doing. They thought they were hunting for an idol or something. It just went amiss. So now that they're head of the tribal, who do you think is going home tonight?
Let me look. I mean, isn't there at this point literally a correct answer with who the tribe is?
I mean, we know.
We know, but I mean, you are more than welcome to make your prediction. I will not verify it, but
and if there's still 2.5 hours until the tribal council, so anything could happen.
Right.
Were they looking at Kyle for the most part earlier? Like I know Kyle has struggled to stay connected within his tribe. I don't know. Is that an inactivity issue that people seem to have with him?
I think so. Like if you look at the rankings now, everybody on that tribe has Kyle at 4th on their trust rankings.
Right. So it's not looking good for Kyle. You want people around who you can banter with, you can work off of, you can be like creative with coming up with strategy. And if you're not around, like it's kind of giving furniture, no offense.
Furniture.
So I'm not surprised if Kyle is the one to go home. I do think that's going to present an issue then for Fifi and Gersh at the next vote. But maybe they're willing to take a risk on their new friends, Kyler and Vince. We shall see what happens.
Ooh.
And Kyler is a bit off on Tristan right now, right? I believe before the swap. So
I know he's had his eye on Topher and Tristan both for different reasons. I think Topher more so because he's like, I just think a ridiculous social butterfly. And I think Tristan hasn't communicated well or something, but he's not feeling the same vibe, I don't think, that he used to.
As like I love Kyler, but I do see like Kyler being like threatened by somebody who's social, because that is something that I don't like. Kyler's doing a very good job this season of being social, but being outwardly engaging in social is not necessarily a huge I guess like skill of Kyler, where Topher just like oozes that charisma, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I could see why that's a threat to Kyler's game.
I think it was a little weird. People right from the get-go were talking about, sending Topher home for being social. I'm like, he wants to work with you guys, so who cares if he's social? Like he's gonna be more visible, and you guys can hide behind that as long as he's still working with you.
Yeah,
Topher's been painted as like the Caleb of this season, and I hope can get through.
Who the fuck is Caleb?
Caleb from, I don't, 46 or 5 or whatever the hell. I don't know.
Girl.
Oh, the
Yeah, yeah,
shot
yeah.
in the dark guy.
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
start talking about new era, my brain shuts down. I think it short circuits actually, but Jesus.
Clearly.
It's kind of like he's getting pigeonholed into this like archetype when I feel like he's doing the same thing that everybody else is. But I don't know, maybe they're jealous that he's
Well, you
doing
have
it
too
better.
much charisma.
Yeah,
Too much Riz.
they're just a little jealous, I think.
You're a hater and you're jealous. My
What was the
God.
question now?
I don't remember.
Are you with us?
Yes, I'm with us. No, I said who was going home tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, but he answered the
yeah,
question.
yeah, Kyle.
Oh, no,
Though.
sorry. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on. We actually have a viewer question for this segment from Jacob's
God.
bestie, Jose. So, Jacob, if you were on the Shadowlands, who out of the players you don't know would you find yourself wanting to align with?
So I guess that's specifically saying I can't say Tristan. Makes
Correct.
sense. Maybe Anna.
Oh, I could see that.
I feel like Anna and I were like the same age. I feel like our banner would be just very easy. I could see us having a good chemistry. You know, I love a good I don't think I can say that. Lover of gay men, let's say.
Lover of gay men.
Well, I'm serious. Like she started off her OG tribe
I know where you were
with
going
all
with
the
that.
gays. Yes. It's probably not appropriate for the podcast, but I definitely could see me and Anna having a great, working relationship if I were on this season with her.
Yeah. Okay. Jason, who would you work with? Just out of curiosity.
I want to say that I would work with Topher, but I also could see myself clocking that T early, so to speak.
Not a clock.
But I think they would be somebody I could easily work with. And Anna too. I played a season with her, and we got along very, very well until I backstabbed her very early.
Did her dirty.
Right.
But it's because she's so good at socializing that like everybody thought that she was their number one. And then when the season was over, I found out that I actually was her number one. But when you tell everybody that, it's impossible to know what's actually truth, right? So,
So true.
No regrets were had after that vote, but somebody that like is super easy to get along with and to communicate with and to play a game and just kind of bat like ideas around with. So yeah, Anna and Topher would be my two, which is why at the beginning they seemed that they weren't necessarily on the same wavelength. Like Anna seemed to be like stronger with Tristan and Kyler, and now that they missed out on like Jason and Topher, like, they just seem to be getting closer together now, Anna and Topher, and I'm here for that duo. Hopefully, getting further in this game together because that would be so much fun.
For sure.
What about you, Nick?
Kyler, obviously. Dell. The thing is, I know a lot of this cast because I reached out to them. So
you can only pick from people you don't know.
Only people if it's only people that I don't know.
The one person on the cast.
I don't know Topher. I don't know Kyle. I don't know Frasier. And the only reason why I know Tristan is because Jacob literally told me that Tristan was applying and Tristan was like asking me questions during the app process. So I guess out of that group, Frasier and Tristan. So yeah. I guess I don't know Issa either. But everyone else from this cast I do know from like past experiences, whether it be hosting or playing with. So yeah.
Actually, I'd also want to add Dell. Dell seems like she'd be super fun to play with too.
No, I just played Lord Rival All-Stars with her, and Dell is so fucking fun. Like, on a personal level, too, she's just, I love her. So, no notes from me about Dell. Okay, so, Jacob, predictions about the rest of this season.
What, like final 6 or just in general?
Just in general, whatever you want to predict. It's up to you.
Um, that's so broad. I'm really manifesting more so than predicting an amazing Idol blindside. Dell, give us our Kelly Wentworth moments. We're already obsessed with you in the spec chat, but I'm really hoping that actually happens and she can take out like a big player. Maybe someone from the original Purple Tribe. Yeah, that's what I'm manifesting. Maybe like a Topher or like a Kyler blindside or something.
That'd be a good one, honestly. I would kind of live for a Topher blindside, to be honest.
I'd
Well,
be upset, but then also like so excited at the same time, you know? It's like when a
no,
character you like on a show dies.
that's so
Wow,
real.
you are
Well,
nuts.
you know, you got to respect a show that's willing to kill off a character that, you know, the audience is clearly invested in. When they, you know, they take you on that emotional roller coaster, you know? If it's all
Yeah.
predictable and everything's happy, that's boring, you know? I want to feel something. Make me feel something. So that's
I
what I'm
want to
hoping.
feel something is crazy.
I want to feel alive.
Okay. That's a good. Jason, do you have any predictions?
I predict that at the end of this episode, we'll have three tribes of five,
Bitch.
which,
Hmm.
as much as Taupo continues to just like crush everybody, the way that we created this season, and I'm happy we have three tribes of five at this point. It could be very lopsided, and now it looks like it's an even playing field, even though it's really, really not based on OG travel lines.
Do you
Right.
think Taupo is going to actually steamroll here?
I don't think so. I think because there's so many of them and there's going to be so few of the other tribes, like they're going to have to turn on each other. You're not going to go final seven.
Right.
I can't imagine that, especially with all the different dynamics. Although now all blue is back together, but
Hmm.
Which three Taupo do you think will make it the farthest?
Um,
Vince,
Dell, Vince,
Dell.
and Fraser.
No, that's answering on top of each other.
Dell, Vince, and Fraser.
We're the same person. I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I hope. That's also my hope.
I think that
Sorry
Jamie will probably
to
be
the others.
Yeah. I think Jamie's going to be the first one to fall, though.
I could see that.
But who knows?
Nick, any
Yeah.
predictions?
I think that's really going to be a fun merge, especially. Not to tease too much about what color the merge is, but I love the color so fucking much. So I'm really excited for that part alone. I'm really excited to see how Takore really impacts the rest of the pre-merge, and you know, obviously, the storms of brewing. So I'm really excited to see the fallout from that. And I think we've had really good momentum shifts throughout so far, and I hope that continues too. So I'm predicting and manifesting a continuous tidal wave of change and shifting alliances throughout the season. So, yeah. Jason, care to take us to our next area?
I was going to add to that last one, just like give us what the Amazon couldn't give us.
True.
Let's manifest that.
Oh, come on, Jacob. Be
Moving
real.
on, we're going to start talking the Amazon now that we have that. So we've talked through the game so far on the Shadowlands. Thank you for being an active member of T-Specs, Jacob, and
Yeah,
actually knowing what you're talking about. Now we kind of want to talk about your game on the Amazon. Like we've talked about a little bit about it so far, but we're going to go a little deeper now into what got you onto the podcast today.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start with, I guess, what was your rose and your thorn from the Amazon?
I would say for the rose, probably the connections that I actually made during the season. I know that sounds a little like pageanty or whatever, but I live in Wisconsin and it was like Arctic hell at the time of the season starting. So like nobody was out here doing anything. I wasn't really seeing friends much. So it was really great to connect with, especially Henry, Jose, and Tim. Like those three guys I still care about, plan to, you know, keep around in my life for a while. You know, getting to know them and connecting was one of my favorite parts of the season and like some of the most fun I had just, you know, sitting back and having long conversations with those guys. So that was definitely my rose. Um, Thorn. What was my thorn? I mean, I guess I could go skip ahead to like, what ended up doing me in at the end of my game.
Mhm.
Um, it's so hard, you don't have all of the knowledge that the T specs have when you're out here making these decisions. Um, so what was it? Final seven, it was kind of like a couple duos with me and Jose, Blissy Vine, Henry and Tim, and then Christine was there, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I got kind of I got a lot of smoke blown up my ass, and I got convinced, that getting rid of Vine was the best decision for my game, and it wasn't. I wasn't cutthroat enough with my allies who I think I was too emotionally attached to let go or to make moves against. I didn't
Mhm.
intend to go final three with them all because like you can't go final three with four people. But you know, it's you don't realize like how dire of a mistake you're making when you flip on somebody or do something, you know, I guess it doesn't make the most strategic sense at the end of the day. So I feel like a lot of the regrets that came out of that were my thorn. Um, but I had a fucking great time and I overall don't regret it.
Let's talk about that moment because, like you said, like the T specs have more. So we're watching this all happen, and we're like, "What the hell, Jacob?" Because you were in the Dell position where we were like, "Jacob's got this. Like he's gonna figure this out," and then Jacob never figured it out. Like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
was your goal? Like, no, I guess like, at that point in the game, at final seven with Vine going and you voting Vine out, like, what was your final three plan?
I'll get back to the final three plan. I think my decision there was low key a little tunnel vision. Um, so like at the start of that vote, I was fully set. Like Christine's got to go. Like she's clearly attached at the hip to Henry and Tim, no matter how many times they screw her over.
Mhm.
So I knew like that makes Henry and Tim rely on me more to get rid of Christine. However, Blissy comes out of the woodwork and she's I think telling me the truth. I mean, I still to this day think it's the truth, but she told me that Vine had his sights on me for final six. So I guess I kind of had tunnel vision where it's like, oh, if you say my name, you gotta go. Um, but I think I could have done some more critical thinking to say like, how much power does Vine really have even, to get that done?
Mhm.
So I basically heard Vine was coming for me. They were not yet, but they were going to, and I was just like, yeah, if you come for me, you gotta go. And it was just a very short-sighted decision, unfortunately. Um, for the final three question, I don't know. I'll be honest and say like I think I could have had a good shot to win. Not maybe not win, but at least get votes, no matter what final three combination I was in. I fully would have gone to the end with Henry. Um, I'm not saying I wouldn't have cut him, but I also like I wasn't sitting there like, in fetal position, like can't go to the end with Henry. I was fully fine with it because I thought no matter what, I would have had at least a somewhat decent shot because we had
Yeah.
different games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Henry and I play very different games. Well, here and there. So
Here and there.
Thank you for that. What was your like proudest moment of the Amazon?
I think I think I did some pretty good, running the bus over my ally situations that I do think
Wow, you're
benefited my
proud.
game. So
Cutthroat.
I think I'd say turning on Jamie was pretty like sneaky, very evil of me, but I don't regret it. Obviously, Jamie had me as her number one going into the merge, and like you don't know that, I don't see her TRs. But Jamie was one of those people where it's like she had an alliance with everyone. She's
Uh-huh.
telling everyone that she's so close to them. So I'm like, okay, like I technically feel close with her, but like an ally to everyone is an ally to no one, right?
Uh,
So I really didn't know where I stood with her. So um, I leaked this cross tribal alliance I had with her to V and Jose at I think a very strategic time. I got them each to trust me even more and trust her less. And I feel like I set her up to be the next merge vote. whereas V was also like taking all of the visibility and like all of the like I guess credit for that. And I was fully fine with just sitting back and like, you know, letting that all play out where I felt like I was in the shadows, kind of like, scheming. So I was pretty proud of how that went down.
Which looking back at that, I remember thinking, what the hell when V did it? Not necessarily when you did it, because I think
Right.
you were already in a pretty decent position with a lot of people on the merge tribe, but we're like V literally had nobody else. It's like V, this literally is the person that has you in your top. And obviously we
Right.
see V go next. So I was like, wait, what?
I guess I was a little, yeah, I was proud of myself for being coming through with the evil game that I intended to play. Like, I didn't want to be full like caricature villain, but I did promise in my application, like, I'm gonna stir up some shit while I'm here. And I felt like I actually came through with that. Because I feel like a lot of players always say in their applications, like, yeah, I'm here to cause drama. And then they're like completely under the radar, the whole game.
And then you're Chloe.
Right. So yeah, I
Um,
felt I felt good about it, and like I think it worked out and forced Henry and Tim to be even closer to me at the merge, which obviously turned into something great.
and what is your biggest regret?
Um, blindsiding Jose. Yeah, blindsiding my buddy Jose. That boy, I don't think like ever withheld important information from me like the whole game. And like I've also
We can
played
confirm that.
now. Yeah, I played a couple orgs now since I can no longer use like the newbie card, right? Um, But yeah, I still have not found an ally quite like Jose that was just like we clicked so naturally. It was like never ass kissy. Like it just always felt like so correct working together. Um,
Yeah.
Unconditional trust. So yeah, I'd say my biggest regret was blindsiding him there at the end. Um, I like I said, I thought it would take me somewhere with getting me more options for Final Three. In reality, it limited my options for Final Three. So, you know, at the
And
time
you
it
still
made
managed to
sense.
get Jose on your side for the next vote. Not the vote that
I
worked out in your favor, but at least you got him back on your team.
I think we knew we still needed each other. Like
Yeah.
he fully told me like on the phone, I'm still pissed at you, dude. Like, first of all, go fuck yourself. Second of all, we
Love
have to
that.
make something happen. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we set our sights on Tim. But of course, the idol gods were not in my favor the whole season, and everyone that I needed to not get an idol got one. Christine at Final 8 getting an idol was terrible for my game, and then Henry having the Final 6 idol was catastrophic for my game. So
I mean, would you say that Christine was the player of the season?
I'd say Christine low key ended me.
Low key, she kind
I
of did.
Well, I think people, I don't know if people give her credit for that, at least in our cast. But
Mhm.
yeah, Christine was like, we got to get this bitch out. And that is exactly what happened. So, she mothered me. I crossed the mother, and she had the last laugh.
Yeah, you seem to cross a lot of mothers last
Yeah,
season. What's
why
up?
why do you hate mothers? Let's go back to this
I have
therapy.
mommy issues.
I have no period.
Okay, we've got some questions from the T specs. We're going to start with V from the Amazon, as you know.
Hmm.
With the Amazon being your first experience with orgs, what from that experience did you cherish the most? I think we kind of touched on that already, but
Um, so yeah, I talked about the connections, which I still stand by being like the top of my list. Excuse me, geez, I hope nobody heard that. I mean, I cherish like the immersiveness of the game. Um, Obviously, it was my first org. I never shut up about it. People love to remind me. Um, but I never expected this like little what I saw as like a hinky dinky Discord game to feel so like yeah, real and immersive. Like I was fully like, and maybe this wasn't always good, but I was like always thinking about like a new way that I could talk to somebody or like change the game. Like it was just so much fun as like we're all Survivor super fans, to kind
Mhm.
of live the fantasy a little bit at home. I do like want to apply to the show one day. Maybe give me a couple of years of increased mental stability or something, But
Period.
this was surprisingly like really fucking fun and immersive. And I will say I haven't found it since in the other orgs I've played. Prestige was definitely the high point by far. Um, but yeah, like I fell in love with the org world, and that was like very cool to do uh, in the late year of 2025. Because I feel like I'm a lot late. I'm late to the game compared to all you guys.
That warms our little hearts because that is our goal. Like when we like, well, before me even, but I know when we rebranded to Prestige, our biggest thing was how do we get more immersive. So
Right.
love to hear that. A question from your bestie, Jose. What player from actual CBS Survivor would you say your game in the Amazon mirrored best?
I would like to say Todd Herzog, Survivor China winner. I do feel like he was, you know, a social butterfly on his season, and I do feel like I was able to do that with this cast. Um, I feel like I just was able to easily connect with a lot of people. I was kind of like an in-between age, you know, like there was a lot of like early 20s and then like 30 and 40-year-olds. I feel like I kind of fell in like the perfect middle position to be able
Right.
to relate to the different life experiences. You know, I got to cosplay as a millennial and then a Gen Z as well, all in the same day. Um, yeah, I think Todd, I personally would say I resonate with. Maybe a little Camilla from the new season of Survivor, just because
Oh my.
she loves to talk about running the bus over people, and I feel like I did that to multiple people in my season.
Just couldn't pull off what at least Todd pulled off. We don't know about Camilla yet.
We shall see. I think it's a crime that they don't give that girl more airtime because every time she has a confessional, she is so funny.
No, I agree.
And she's still my favorite.
Like they're missing out by not giving her more airtime for sure.
Our other friend from the Amazon, Damien, who shout out to Damien. Thank you so much for being so active in the T specs. We really love that.
Yes.
Damien asks, this cast has a very different dynamic than the Amazon. However, which person from the Amazon do you think would be a better fit in this season?
Ah, that is an interesting question. So who? Maybe Sammy. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Sammy. I think our season was like maybe more vibe heavy than this one. I do feel like more people are like straightforward gamers, at least in the confessionals in this season. Maybe that would have jived more with Sammy. Because I don't, yeah, Sammy didn't give a lot of strong personality in text chats. However, I did have great phone calls with Sammy in the merge, and I was always like keeping the door open to working with him further down the line. It never like fell into place for us to have that working game relationship. But on a personal level, he was super lovely on the phone. It just did not read, unfortunately, over DMs. I think a lot of people did not feel that either.
I think this is a question that I could also ask Nicholas.
Yes.
Yeah, don't make me be
Who from the Amazon do you think would have vibed well with the Shadowlands cast?
Ben, probably. I think Ben would definitely have fit better in with this cast in terms of, I think, style of gameplay. I played with Ben before. I love Ben. I was devastated when Jacob and Jose were being heartless and blindsided my buddy. But no, I would say Ben. I think Ben would probably be the one. Maybe not the one. Ben, I think Jacob was 100% right with Sammy. I think Sammy also would have been better with this cast. If I had to pick one more, I'm going to say Kay, who went pretty early on. I think that Kay was a good player. She just was not active enough at all in the Amazon. So those three, I think for sure, would have probably been a better fit. I think Kay, there's more people that are her, not her vibe, but just like kind of the way she plays the game. But yeah.
It's weird. I never got to interact with Kay once, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about her, but I'll take your word for it.
I would say I think Brian would have done pretty well this season because he wouldn't have Henry. to just hate him for no reason.
The big lie.
And actually, Damien probably too, because apparently this cast doesn't hate foreigners as much as the Amazon. So,
Oh,
nope.
Oh,
the
not
xenophobia
that.
allegations cannot escape
I'm just
them.
looking at that. I'm like, oh, America, America, America. Like, seems like there was an agenda.
I love everyone.
The way
Love
that you said
Canadian.
that so slow. I love everyone.
Well, I'm like, choose your words carefully, Jacob.
We also have a question here from former Suitman's winner from Kyonghai Amelia. Why were you so bad at the game, Jacob?
That's what
Girl,
she said, not
I'm
us.
sorry. Who even
Yeah, this is not my words. These are Amelia's words.
I don't even know who this person is. I'm pretty sure she's been shady to me in the T-Spec chat every chance she's gotten. I do not know you. We can have a chat about it later, but
Don't feel like this is a direct reflection of you. This is just who Amelia is.
I feel very
So
attacked.
you're totally fine.
Amelia is there.
Let me answer that. Why was I so bad? I feel like, yeah, the worst part of my game was not being able to let go of my emotional attachment to some of my Oceans 4 people, probably when I needed to. Especially like right at the final 8, those idols were played. Henry was put on blast. I definitely left that entire interaction being like, okay, Henry's a sneaky guy. And like I already knew he was sneaky just because he was honest with me about his sneakiness when it wasn't against me. But that was the first moment where I realized he was really painting targets on my back as well. And I guess I just told myself like I'll deal with it later. And I didn't have that chance to do it later. You had to act now, and I didn't. But you know, I'm pretty happy with my game, Amelia. So yeah, let's have a DM sometime. Let's get a coffee.
Let's get a coffee. He's
A
crazy.
DM coffee, little coffee date. I'm sure Amelia would love that too.
Oh my god.
They love that kind of stuff.
Just saying, hatred is very bad for your skin.
True. It ages you.
It does. It does.
Okay.
Oh, that explains everything then.
Yeah, Jason. Okay.
Nick?
Yes. Okay. So we have a question from Miles that's more general for me and Jason because Jacob did not design the season. What made us choose 3 tribes instead of 2? I like it more. I think that's simple. I like it more. Jason was fine with that too, as far as I know.
Well,
he never brought it up.
I think we wanted to be different from the first season. So like we could have easily done 2 tribes of 9 or 10 or whatever the number was, but we also wanted it to be a unique to the previous season. And we don't want what we do at Prestige to kind of be monotonous and like expected. So I think it's just natural for us to up it to 3, have fewer, because we did have a really, really big first season, which was also not the plan originally.
Mm-hmm.
And the math just math based on, that's like with the Shadowlands, we wanted it to be chaotic. So 3 to 2, bring it back to 3. We definitely wanted to challenge that a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Jacob, what Shadowlands player do you think most resembles your gameplay in the Amazon?
I was just looking through these players. I feel like my gameplay in the Amazon was like very under the radar for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden getting into the merge, I was like super high visibility. Honestly, I kind of look back and I'm like, I don't even know how I could have gotten to the final 3 at a certain point, just because I feel like Pixie was here telling everyone I'm such a big threat. My own allies were talking about it. So I guess I'm trying to look for somebody who's like kind of under the radar right now, but also like really well connected. Would you say?
Do you know who wasn't throwing you under a bus? Jose.
Yeah, he wasn't. He would have gone to final 3 with me, I guess, and I took it for granted. You don't know what you have until it's gone. I really adore Jose so much, and I'm glad we've been able to, stay close since the season, and we laugh about all this shit now, but it was definitely a tense couple days after the blind side. I still never voted for him, so
True. True.
it could have been worse.
He's better than me. I would have cussed you out.
Right. Would you say Kyler's a little under the radar right now, or do you think people have kind of clocked how well connected he is?
I don't know that people have clocked it as much, to be honest. At least from what I'm seeing, I think that Kyler is still doing a decent job of being a bit under the radar. Maybe because he's younger, but I think he's kind of still in a pretty good spot without getting a lot of attention for it.
Okay, so maybe I'm gonna
think
say
he's at a spot.
Kyler here.
What's that? Go ahead.
Maybe I'm gonna say Kyler here then. I don't think personality wise, but maybe like gameplay wise is what I'm going for.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it's a hard question to answer. Like,
It is.
For sure.
I don't know these people. I don't get to hear their voice calls. I only get to see the confessionals. So it's hard to like fully connect and say, but I would say based on the fact he's well connected and not clocked for it, Kyler. Because I think around this time I had like multiple people putting me as their number one, and nobody was looking to get me out anytime soon. So hopefully that's the same position for Kyler. I hope he goes far.
Okay. Jacob, what questions do you have for us, if any?
Yes, I do have some questions for you guys.
Okay.
I came prepared.
We're not used to this.
Okay, so I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but a lot of castaways come in, talking smack in their bios. I'm a strategic mastermind. I'm not afraid to fight. All of that fun stuff to get cast.
Yeah.
Who would you say is most living up to what they promised that's still in the game right now?
Oh God, that's a good question.
Yeah.
God, I also would have to like look back at the bios too because I don't remember what people wrote. I don't think
I would say.
Oh, go ahead.
Probably I'll go ahead. Sorry. I think Dell's probably playing the closest to what they've said in the bio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're obvious. I don't know. They're very aware of what they bring to the table and they're following through with it. So like, I feel like a lot of people are still like, it's so early in the game. They're not going to be as chaotic, or if you're really good at this game, you're going to kind of hold off until the merge till you want to be super chaotic or super visible. But Dell is kind of getting clocked a little bit, but playing the game as they said that they would.
Yeah,
Right,
I think Chloe is also somebody for good or worse. Like, hi, my name is Chloe and I'm one fan favorite 6 times. So keep in mind this confessional is above all. I'm just really iconic and like, so you should stand me. And if you don't, I don't give a fuck. Like, that is literally how Chloe played.
That is how she played for sure.
Yeah, I would say Fifi too. I think Fifi has also kind of been very transparent about being unpredictable. We haven't seen too much of her being reactive quite yet, but like, I think that she definitely is very careful, like she was talking about in her bio. So I would say probably those three come to mind immediately. But there's so many others, honestly.
So somebody's gonna wrong Fifi and then regret that very soon.
Someone I've like watched Fifi before. I feel like if someone wrongs Fifi, she may not say it to their face, but she will be cussing them out in her confessional. I promise you. Like,
I feel like if you're gonna wrong Fifi, you need to just land it. Like, it has to be Fifi.
No, quite literally.
It's kind of what's going on around Fifi.
Yeah. She'll be staring down that camera in the car while driving, cussing these people out.
Actually, sure.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So obviously I'm new to the org world and I'm new to the Suitman's lore and the world.
Right.
I guess where did your guys' friendship begin?
Oh God.
On a season together, or just
have we started a friendship yet?
You are such a vile bitch, honestly. No, so we actually have never played Suitmans together before. So Jason, it's been so long now. I feel like I'm like
I found the Suitmans like so I can't remember who it is. I think it was Topher in their bio said that they played years ago on old AIM. So like that was my era of gameplay. And then I got a job and like stepped away. And then it wasn't until 2022, January, that I found Suitman's. And I'm like, you know what? Let's get back into it and give this a shot. And I applied, made it, won it.
Mhm.
And then I think I would have met then Nick, because you weren't on production at that point, and
No.
like trusted specs and just like around the community, really.
Mhm. No, and I think like it got to the point where like we started like DMing one-on-one, and like Jason, like I was playing this other Oracle Survivor, and I had just come off being Serene and Game Changer style eliminated in that season. And then I was basically asked the following season to come back if I was able to find like a blood versus water partner. So even though like at that time Jason and I weren't like extremely close yet at that point, like we were just like starting like coming closer, I was like, hey, like will you do this with me? And he's like, yeah. So we did it together, and Jason was a little bitch and didn't place idol on me at final 8, and I went home. However, but I think like our friendship was blossomed from there, honestly. Like we just got closer and closer, and like we like talk about like in real life shit. Like we had like a friendship outside of the org world for sure. And I think
Right.
what'd you say?
No, I just said right. Like
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. So just kind of like, and then we, we're both question masters and as trusted specs, and then both joined production. So it just kind of snowballed from there
Well,
on.
I even think before that we like started doing the podcast together.
Yeah. That's
And
it.
then because I think we did the podcast before we were even brought onto production.
Yeah.
Like, it was just something that we were doing to stay a part of the community and
Right. It used to have a
in the
different
game.
name, right?
Yeah. R.I.P.
Which was
Nick. I
Wait,
forget.
wait, what was the question?
What was the old podcast called again? Was it Bald and Wigless or something?
Oh, it was bald, bearded, and wigless. Yeah.
Love that.
And then we were like, hey, we need to rebrand with the whole Prestige rebrand. So
And we did indeed, and we stand by it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it's been like at least a near 3-year friendship at this point in time.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me see. I could ask that another time. I'll DM you guys. Okay, I guess one more question.
Yeah.
which of us has won Suitman's? It was me.
I think I know the answer to that one.
I have played 3 times.
It's my favorite question.
Every time. Thank you very much.
What are your placements, Nick?
4th, 10th, and 3rd.
I feel like I'm gonna say when I come back for Prestige, I feel like that's my trajectory as well. So.
No, like honestly,
I went first to second.
Shut up, Jason. But no, Jacob, I can literally say for all of us on production, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when with you being back. 100%.
Don't speak for me.
Shut up.
So I'm looking so forward to it. Like, I genuinely have not been able to like have the same magic immersive experience as Prestige Season 1. So like bring me and some of the Amazon buddies back, throw us on different tribes or whatever. I'm very much looking forward to it.
You and Christine on the same tribe.
2 divas.
Hey, I'm open to a Christine connection going forward. I just don't know if it's ever gonna happen. We'll see. Okay, yeah. My last question is, if you were to add what does this say? If you were to do like a tribe leader style thing for this season, where each of the 3 tribes had somebody from my season, so like 3 returning, who would you choose?
Oh, that's a good
question. I already know my answer.
Okay, go for it.
Henry as the winner of the season.
I wouldn't pick a winner, but all right.
That's fine. Just because Henry was so dominant, it's like, okay, can he do it again?
Uh-huh.
Brian for the Henry versus Brian of it.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And Jacob as like basically the head of the other duo, but fell short to Henry. So you kind of have like the fun little dynamics of essentially Henry outdoing both of you and seeing if he can do it again.
Oh. Okay. Nick, what about you?
Bliss, as someone who made the finals, maybe didn't play the best game in terms of jury management necessarily. So I'd say Bliss. I would say you, Jacob, as well, for being a jury member that made it far. And frankly, aside from Henry, probably had the best win equity out of anybody in the cast. And then additionally, I would pick Brian as well because I feel like he was horridly robbed in the pre-merge by Henry. So that'd be my three captains.
He was the Jan of the season.
Oh my God, yes. It's horrid. Horrid.
I'm glad everyone in the specs was like living for him. I don't know. I guess our tribe just wasn't for some reason. But I'm
No,
glad.
it was so perplexing as to why like nobody was like wanting to work with him. I'm like, he's social, he's pleasant. Like, what is not to like? Am I missing something in like a VC call or some shit?
For me, I can tell you my perspective.
Sure.
For me, he was like telling me like a lot of like I trust you so much type stuff, but there was never like more information, and it was always like checking in right before the vote to come up with the name. It never felt like sincere for me, so I never was able to connect with him on a game level. Personal wise, yeah, he was very nice to talk to, but um, yeah, and he had alliances without me, so I'm like, why are you telling me we're so close if I'm not even in your alliance? So
True. Clock it though.
That's fair. Yep. I don't even know if it was necessarily a question on like where you and Brian stood. It was more the Henry of it all, where they were so like,
right.
Brian literally had Henry as his number one, and it was obviously the rogue votes that you and Jose did that threw him off.
Henry does claim that blindside would have happened without the big lie, but I live in a world where that never happened because the big lie did happen. So in my narrative, I still got Brian out while not even on the tribe with him. So I will claim that at least for now in my fantasy.
Okay,
if you had made it to final tribal council, is that something that you would have thought you could have claimed as a play, or was that really just exposed after when Brian got to speak his truth?
Oh, I absolutely don't think most of the people still there knew about the big lie. Actually, V was the only person I ever told about it, and that came out because of the alliance leak. So me, Jamie, and Jose, we had our little insulated group with V on the outside. We had our voice chat, and V joins, even though it's not supposed to be a voice chat with V. So they all run away, tail between their legs. I ended up staying in the chat and explaining the situation to V, and we ended up basically just telling each other everything almost. And I think it was like, yeah, I don't know. I think that was like a very like power hungry like opportunity for me to like take what could be a shitty situation of V flipping on us because he feels left out and bringing him in even closer. I don't even know what I was like originally saying from that, but where was I going? Oh yeah. So V was the only person who knew about the big lie at that point. So absolutely, I would have been talking about that at Final Tribal Council.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a lot of things. I didn't have my name written down either up until Final Six, which I think was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. My God, I could never.
I was fully ready to like be fine with losing to Henry. I just like wanted to get there in the seat to have the opportunity to speak my case,
Right.
So I really was just banking on the fact Henry was like, I was, really hitting him with the, like, I want to go against the best. I want to be with like the strongest people at the end. And he totally wasn't buying it. So.
You hate to see it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Jacob, what are your final thoughts about your time on the Amazon, about Prestige, about the Shadowlands? Talk to us about it.
I mean, you guys really made me fall in love with the org world. So I'm here to stay for a while. Definitely as long as my boyfriend allows it, because I think the time commitment was way more than both of us thought. So I'm still in the process kind of figuring out how to balance, real life and org stuff.
For sure.
But yeah, like Prestige really changed the game for me. Like I'm just hungry now to play more orgs and like potentially finally get a win. And yeah, it's super fun being like a part of a community. The reason I have stuck around, unlike other people, is I genuinely like the community. I find the people in T-Specs to be super fun to chat with, very funny, and yeah, the vibe I feel like fits me really well. So, yeah, I'm here to stay.
Yeah, we're so happy that like so many of you from the Amazon have like stuck around and like been active contributors to the server and just really integrating yourselves as part of the community, because you guys are part of the community. So we're so happy to have you. And
we're like forcing ourselves into the community almost.
Not forcing yourselves, no. Like you're welcome. Like you're alumni. You are officially now part of the lore, regardless of if you want to be or not. Like it's just how it is. But no, we're just so happy to have you because you are such like a useful and like wanted contributor, because like you give a really good perspective and opinion about things, and it's so entertaining to watch. Like it was watching you on Amazon, just having you be a part of this side of things now. It's just so much fun. So we're so happy to have you.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Jason, any final thoughts today?
No, just thank you, Jacob, for giving us some 2 hours on your weekend with us to talk about the game and to talk about your season. We want to do this with a few other players from the Amazon and not only talk about what we're currently experiencing, but everyone else's experience. And like I can resonate a lot with what you were saying, because I was brand new and just thrown right into the game when I joined Suitman's, and then afterwards I stuck around because of the people and the community and kind of got weaseled my way into production and forced it. Right. So yeah, no, I can relate to that. And, what's that?
Force yourself into the relevancy.
Exactly.
Exactly that.
And I'm just really excited to see how the rest of the season goes, because we've got plans and I'm hoping more things get found before the next phase of the game.
Me too. Yep. No, it's very much so that. I'm just very excited for the season to continue and see. Sorry, someone's calling me right now. Just see how the season shapes up. And I'm just really excited to keep it going. So, but for now, I want to thank both Jason and Jacob for joining me today on this episode. We will see you guys again soon with another episode. But for now, have a good week. Bye.
Bye.